Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to the final Paddock Pass of the season, Jess's Paddock Pass to be exact. We are sponsored by Next Level Racing and one of our new sponsors, which we'll go into more detail later on in the show. My name is Jess, head of broadcasting at One Hub Racing, and joining me for the final time this season to wrap up season 15 is Kieran McGinley.
Everybody, welcome along to Jess's Paddock Pass. The 4.8 commentator is here to join you for this season finale, basically. And it's been a fantastic season once again. At the start of the season, ambitions were set, and I can definitely say ambitions have been absolutely well and truly matched. It's been a fantastic season to be a part of, and we get to relive it all by going through all the standings, going through race results, and seeing who did well and who didn't do well. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Why don't we just get straight into it?
Yeah, definitely. And we've got 3 tiers to go through as well. And also we'll be interviewing one of our champions as well, Janel from the position tier. Unfortunately, the other 2 champions weren't available, but we got Janel, which we'll do later on. But first of all, we'll talk about the podium tier. And the main star of the podium tier really has got to be Evahannon. 4 wins this season, 6 podiums. He looked dominant at the start of the season, was a bit shaky towards the end, but he did it when it mattered, and he got enough points to claim the title, and he did it with only just by 25 points.
Absolutely. 5 pole positions, 4 of those converted to wins, basically. 4 fastest laps as well. I mean, it was a great season for him. Well and truly deserved it. Won it by 25 points, actually. And, you know, it's great to not have that pressure of a championship battle going into the last round of the season. He wrapped it up at the penultimate round of the season ahead of Nicky there. And to be honest with you, between the two of them, it was closer than anybody really thought, actually. Yes, Evahannon did have that dominant start to the season there. 3 wins back to back, which was a great way to start the championship. And then he didn't win again until round 7, but that's where consistency was key. Only 2 DNFs, 6 podiums as well. Yeah, I think Evahannon is a deserved champion this season.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think he had his teammate to help with it there as well, Astronauty in P5 in the standings. Obviously, he didn't help in Silverstone, and they also did enough also to claim the Constructors' title as well with Mercedes. So Mercedes doing the double there. And how important do you think is to have a great teammate alongside you, helping you in the wings?
It's vital. If anything, it's a necessity. You need to have someone by your side, almost being the rear gunner. And, you know, the 2 Mercedes, I think Astronauty, their 5th place, they finished overall 79 points. But again, that was enough. It was enough to get them that Constructors' Championship, and by 53 points as well. So, yeah, a great season for Mercedes. They definitely pretty much matched their title ambitions at the start of this season, and their drivers have very much lived up to that as well. So again, Mercedes at the top with those 4 wins, all coming from Evahannon there. 8 podiums overall and 5 pole positions throughout the entire team. So yeah, lowest points tally was 5 points. So they went through the entire season scoring points at every single round. That's so important when you're trying to chase for a championship. Even if you don't have the best round, it's so important to score as many points as possible. That just shows you Mercedes there. Only 3 times this season did they ever come away from a race with single-digit points. So really, really important there, and great form from both Mercedes drivers.
I think both of them will definitely, I think we'd be wanting to go into the Mercedes squad next season, and I think we've had word from the head of teams that they want to keep Evahannon in Mercedes in whatever tier he goes in. So to be honest, no matter what happens, whichever team he goes into next season, if Evahannon stays, he's more than likely going to get the team he wants.
I mean, when you're a champion, the world opens up to you, really, in terms of One Hub. Depending on which tier you get into, teams will be looking at your previous results in other seasons. And for Evahannon to have won the podium tier, that's going to open up so many doors for him. Whether he's in whichever tier he's in, there's going to be a team there that's going to be interested in getting his signature. He's got the world to choose from going into next season, assuming, of course, that he is here next season. Yeah,
exactly. Because obviously the new F1 2020 game is upon us, and to be honest, I haven't actually done the talk show mid-game cycle, so that's interesting. So, well, obviously, thanks to Nick for letting me do this as well. I've got to say, Nicky in P2 was very, very impressive all season. He was a newcomer to the league. He only joined One Hub Racing this season. He let the gun running from the very start. His first race, he got a podium, and he was one of those drivers which I was speaking to at the start of when I was speaking to Jamie for the team contracts, where it was a bit of an anomaly. Normally new drivers are not allowed to go for those middle teams, but no one wanted that team except for Nicky, and he was looking strong. And I think obviously the team bosses did well to hire him, because look, he scored he got 1 pole, 4 podiums, and 1 driver of the day and 2 fastest laps. So absolutely fantastic. He didn't get a win though, but he was still did enough to claim that all-important second place.
Great form in the season, and it's just so frustrating. That elusive win was just out of reach for him. But 4 podiums, pole position as well, with a driver of the day and 2 fastest laps. I mean, that's a great season to start with for first season in One Hub, considering how competitive this field actually is. That's a great start, and the Indonesian will be looking at next season thinking, where can I go next? Renault have been a great service to him. Does he stay with Renault going into the next season? I'm sure they'll want to keep him for the next season, that's for sure. But again, when you have a good position, when you have a good performance with a team that really nobody wanted to go to, that's going to open up doors for everybody else. That's going to have lots of teams on the radar for you going into next season. So we'll have to see how the head of teams and how everything negotiates heading into that next season.
And Nicky only 1 DNF as well, which was round 5, which was Singapore. And obviously Singapore is a really hard track for endurance, and there was a bit of a shame that he retired there. But every single other race he finished in the points and consistently in the top 3, apart from round 3, which I believe was China. So definitely someone to look out for this season. A few other drivers to mention in the podium tier. 2 of them have got their first wins in One Hub, the first in the world. 2 of them in One Hub for quite a while. And one of them was Riley. He very impressed me towards the end of the season. His first half of the season was a bit low. He only scored 6 points, then 4 points, then 2 points, and then from round 5 it really kicked off. He never finished lower than a top 5 really, and he got a win in Belgium. And even though I wasn't near him at the time, it was great to get a first victory, and he definitely deserved it.
Absolutely. And it's always so important to get that first win under your belt. It's the best win, for no doubt about it. When you get that win, you just think all that hard work has finally paid off. So, yeah, to get that first win under the belt, it just now hopefully adds to that momentum as you go through the ropes as a driver. And maybe, hopefully, going into next season, they'll be thinking, well, what's next? Maybe 2 wins next season will be the target. But, yeah, world's his oyster at the moment.
And I've got to say, his teammate Dexter in the Alfa Romeo also doing well as well. His form picked up towards the end as well, and he got his last driver of the day in Brazil as well. He was hoping he was going to get it. There was one driver of the day that he did not get. He got nominated, but he didn't get it. But he got the elusive one in the final one in Brazil, and that's helped them in the constructors as well. 4th place in the constructors. I mean, another constructors that worked very well, but I think Dexter hoped that Riley would calm down a little bit in the party, because Riley probably kept. I think he would have screamed for that win. So yeah, definitely the relationship needs to improve there. But yeah, another strong performance for another newcomer to the league.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, with Riley especially, points in every single race this season, didn't have a single DNF. So that's just incredible in itself, not to finish every single race you start. And not only that, finishing the points every single race. And as you say, towards that halfway stage, it was sort of low points on the spectrum, 6 points at the opening round. You got 4 points in the next 2 rounds. But then at round 6, it just all started to fall into place. A podium there, and then the win at round 8. So a great season for Riley. Really picked himself up towards the end. And for the Dutchman, he'll be looking into next season, looking to try and carry the momentum from this season onto the next. But that's not going to be easy, because we've reached the end of a game cycle, on the verge of a new game cycle coming up. And there are a handful of drivers that have the beta right now. They're not allowed to tell us what it's like. They're not allowed to show us what it's like. But from what we can gather, it's going to be one of those where you've got to put the time in and see how you can move on. It's going to be a good one, because any season that starts on a new game cycle is always going to be an interesting one. Who takes to the water well, like a duck to the water, and who's going to find themselves trying to tread water, trying to keep up? It's going to be an interesting one, and with that momentum towards the latter half of this season, that's really going to be on Riley's side as he makes his way towards season number 16.
Yeah, definitely. And another person also to get an elusive victory after 5 seasons, Jonas Ulbricht in the McLaren. And to be honest, I think most people in the chat, it was in Silverstone, was very delighted for him to get that victory. He was third for pretty much the entire season, but unfortunately, before a bad performance in Brazil put him down into 4th place. But it was just amazing to see a driver that's worked so hard, who has been finishing almost every race, has been attending every race, to finally get the victory that he definitely deserves. And again, I think he's a fan favourite.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a long time coming for Jonas. I've seen him in one hub for a long, long time, and yeah, he absolutely deserves this. The hard work that he's put in, and finally to get a win in the penultimate round of this season, fully deserves it as well. He's a great driver, great character to have on the grid, and you know, he's one of those drivers that has that respect from all the drivers on the grid. They know who he is. The German there is a great guy to race against and to watch him race as well. It's been a long time coming, and I'm very happy that he's finally got that elusive first win. And let's see if he can build on it for next season.
Yeah, I think a few more we got to mention, and then we'll head to the next tier. One of which is Rich in the Red Bull. He started off in the Toro Rosso at the start of the season. Things didn't go quite well, but I think something clicked to him when he wanted to move to Red Bull. So it was a gamble with Christian Horner side of things, but it's just nice to see that you do sometimes drivers that potentially do better in a higher team, and I think the guys will probably want to keep Rich on next season.
About it, especially towards that end there. I mean, a couple of podiums to his hand as well in the 2 podiums in the last 3 races that was for Rich there. It's a great performance from him. It was a bold statement to go from Toro Rosso to Red Bull. It's a huge state of intention there, but he met that intention pretty well, actually. I want to see him try and carry over that momentum to next season, and that's going to be a key word you're going to hear from me about every 30 seconds, or every other word I say. It's probably going to be momentum, but it's so important when you get to the end of the season is not to switch off. Rich has got momentum on his side, and let's see what he can do next season when we get to the new game.
Yeah, and obviously we got some more drivers as well. Quite a lot of race premium drivers as well. I'll quickly mention all of them. There's Riley, Dexter, Aaron, Lee Hoffner. He got his first victory as well. Then we got TC, Gazaman, Kingen, Alex Lilliard, Zach Jarvis, myself, CB Hart, and Indecisive. We can't talk about all the drivers. We'll be here all day at the moment. There's a few drivers that didn't do quite as well, but hopefully they'll have a good season if they do go into next season. Have a much better season, but yeah, we'll talk more about that towards the end. But let's have a look at precision and the more dominant Janel. I must say, 5 wins out of 10. I mean, we thought it was going to be Dane Stars to claim the title, but it was Janel in at the end. And to be honest, you commentated on this final race this season, but he already claimed the title then. But yeah, a deserving winner of the precision title, Kieran.
I mean, you don't have 5 wins, 6 podiums, 5 driver of the days, 3 pole positions, and a fastest lap to boot as well, without proving yourself as the worthy champion. I mean, let's put it this way. His worst performance of this season was at the British Grand Prix, where he scored 4 points. Another one was at round 7. That was at the German Grand Prix, where he scored 8 points. Every other position, he's got double figures in terms of points. And that includes the 3 wins in a row from rounds 2 to 4. France, China and Austria. He was completely dominant at the top of the table there. And wrapping up this championship early on as well. Despite Dane Star's late momentum, it was a bit inconsistent, a bit patchy from Dane Star. And that's what's cost him this season. There's been a couple of times where he hasn't hit the mark at certain races where his rivals gone on to win. I'm talking about China there, where Dane Star scored 6 points and Jarno scored 26. So already 20 points difference when you're that early on in the season is a huge hit. Don't forget as well that Danestar retired from the Canadian Grand Prix whilst Jarnell went on to win that. Again, another huge shift of momentum that would have favoured Jarnell there. And yeah, I think for Danestar, that is what cost him. It's mistakes and patchy bit of form. Unfortunately for Danestar, it's not his year, it's Jarnell's.
Yeah, definitely. And he wasn't even in second place going into the penultimate round. It was really penultimate round where he really stepped it up. Before it was actually Carlsbury that was P2 in the standings. But obviously he couldn't make the final race in Brazil, unfortunately, which meant that he only had to settle for third place in the standings. But again, it seems like the new drivers in the Renault car seem to be doing quite well. Unfortunately, there was one driver I think there was two drivers in position, one driver in podium that fell foul of the disqualification for the two-stop rule. That might have cost him a few points here and there, and that could have costed him like second place at one point, 'cause he could have been a third or fourth place or whatever. But I think, obviously, the DNF he had in Silverstone, I think that costed him there as well. I think his teammate collided with him as well, and I think that cost him a chance for the constructors too. So, yeah, I think another mistake's cost for Carlsbury, but he got his first win. I think it was round 5 in Singapore, and quite convincingly, actually, he dominated.
Yeah, fastest lap as well in the Singapore round, and yeah, I mean, it was a chance for Carlsbury then, and we did wonder actually that disqualification at round 2. We actually asked ourselves, will that come back to bite him later on in the season? Well, he didn't finish in the penultimate round of the season, didn't start at the final round of the season, Carlsbury. So yeah, it has come back to bite him is the short answer, and he's finished third though. He's top 3, so that's not too bad. He's still got a prize coming his way, but I'm sure he'll be realising it could have been that just a bit better to get himself up the order, and I think he'll be ruining himself for that disqualification at round 2, because that has cost him a huge chance.
Yeah, and he was on course for a victory as well, but unfortunately, I think it was due to the rain towards the end of the French Grand Prix that he thought that, I think he probably forgot as well. Kamke also forgot I think it was round 4 in Austria, and I think everyone was kicking themselves, but there we go. Other drivers to mention as well, obviously, Konzo in 4th didn't get an elusive victory, but got podiums here and there as well, helping his team as well. He was pretty much in the bubble, to be honest. Apart from Bahrain, he scored in every single race, and again, consistency is key. That's going to be another word. Me and Kieran are going to be talking about consistency, and I think, would he been higher up there if he scored more in, say, Bahrain, Singapore, Silverstone and Brazil?
I mean, definitely. I mean, especially at Bahrain, where he didn't score any points at all. But I think it's been a decent season for Konzo. You're always going to be compared to your teammate as well. Brett down there in 6th place. He had a spell round 5 there, which was the Singapore Grand Prix. We didn't finish. And then he didn't start the next rounds in Canada and Germany. So that's instantly going to hand Konzo the advantage, and he duly took advantage as well with a podium in one of those 3 races as well. I think it's been a decent season for him, and overall it's been a decent season for Williams, and that's quite a weird thing to say. Normally in One Hub, Williams are quite a successful team, and that, you know, they've won the most silverware as a team here in One Hub, and to see them 3rd place this time around, they'll be disappointed for sure. But I think with the drivers they had, I think they've done pretty well this season. I think Konzo can be happy with 4th place, and again, it's just to build on that momentum he's got. I mean, a couple of podiums, well, actually 3 podiums this season, and it's just working on now that at some tracks like at France and maybe even Singapore, it's just to get that performance up a little bit, because in those 2 rounds he scored 3 points in total. If he can score a couple more points at those rounds, he's definitely looking and pushing at the top 3.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously Malloy as well, scoring a few podiums, but then dropped off towards the end of the season. It was nice for him to have a comeback as well, because he's been about a few seasons. I can't remember what season he joined, but he was back this season as well. I was having high expectations for him, but there was a few races where he underperformed, sometimes no fault of his own as well. But I'm sure Malloy's going to be thinking well, long and hard on how to improve for next season, because he was the dark horse going into his debut race in China. But then after that, it was just a mixed bag. Some of the results were good and some of the results were bad.
Yeah, and it seemed like all or nothing in terms of Malloy's season this time around. I mean, as you say, 3 podiums. that one at China, then we had Singapore and a third place at the season finale. But in between those two, I mean, okay, he had Canada, where that was I believe that was a fourth place there, but no points scored at the Austrian Grand Prix, no points scored at the Belgian Grand Prix, only 1 point in the British Grand Prix, 2 points coming in at the German Grand Prix. I mean, yeah, it was a very hot and cold season for Malloy, but I mean, he's a good driver. I can't fault him for that, but something's just not quite clicked. He hasn't got that consistency down this season, and I mean, take this as a learning opportunity for Malloy. He's now got himself a chance to really go against, you know, the likes of Yarnall, Danestar and Carlsbury, who are no slouches in this at all. But this is a chance for him to just reflect on this season, see where it didn't quite go right for him, and see if he can build on that for next season.
Yeah, as do a few of these drivers as well. Obviously, Brett Sturr performed well in the position tier this season, a few penalty points as well. Lukey getting a podium as well. Lukey was another person who I was expecting to do well. Only 47 points. He was second. He was runner-up in the position tier standings last season. I was expecting him to do well. I was expecting to compete for the likes of Danestar, Janel, and even I think I was swapping Carlsbury and Lukey, but I think what happened to Lukey this season? What went wrong for Lukey? I think for most of the time he got involved in other people's incidents, which scored him little or even no points. The only chance he had was a third place in Silverstone, which was well deserving. But apart from that, he just fell under the race side, and it was a what could have been season for Lukey, one of our graphics designers here at OneHub.
Yeah, and it has been a quiet season for him. I mean, the first 2 rounds he didn't score any points whatsoever. I believe he got the podium, at the British Grand Prix, as you rightly said, Jess, but then didn't finish the last race there. So it's a bit frustrating for him, that's for sure. You do get these seasons where it doesn't quite work out for you, and there's not necessarily a discernible reason why. There's not necessarily, it's mainly because of this or it's mainly because of that. It might be a small gathering of multiple reasons why, and I think for Lukey now, it's the end of this game cycle. It's time to focus on the next one and just to try and put a lot of effort into seeing what he can do. I mean, we know he's a great driver. We know he's a quick driver as well. I mean, I've seen him before racing. He is a good driver, but yeah, for some reason it just hasn't clicked, and the all British lineup in the Ferrari there. The British and Norwegian lineup in the Ferraris there. Just it hasn't clicked. They pretty much had similar results. Lukey and Chris there. Lukey getting 47 points, and then Chris getting 43. And yeah, it's been a tepid season for Ferrari as well in the precision tier. So they won't be too happy. But you know, these seasons happen.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one driver I've got to mention for having a very good debut in Silverstone and Brazil. He only joined in Silverstone, actually, and he was happy to pay the $250 season entry fee, because obviously if you join midway through the season, you only have to pay half of it. And it was Compassion, actually. And after all the penalties that Janel got in Silverstone, he got his first podium, a second place in Silverstone, and he actually went on, I think you were commentating on this race, Kieran, went on to win in Brazil, and that was absolutely fantastic, and that lays a marker for other drivers to follow. I wasn't expecting him to do well, and you were watching him. Tell us how he must have fought during that Brazil race to get that win and show that he is a force to be reckoned with next season.
I mean, let's put it this way. He scored more points than his teammate Scorpion did in 2 races than Scorpion managed over the entire season. That is such an impact. He will be on so many teams' radars going into next season. Of course, if he's with us for next season. But that is how you make an impact here at OneHub. The first race he's in, second place. Then the second race he's ever in a OneHub race. Just go on and win it. I mean, he was a fantastic driver, great racing going into that last race in the precision tier. I really enjoyed seeing him drive there. He just looked like he's been in OneHub for years and years. It was a fantastic race to watch, and yeah, definitely one on the radar to watch for next season, whichever tier he ends up being in. He's definitely going to be one to watch.
Yep, and on other teams' radars as well. Obviously, massive shout out to everyone that's raced in the podium tier as well. Obviously, Cloudy making his no assist debut as well. It didn't go quite as well for him. So many DNFs as well, but yeah, and a few other drivers not doing as well. Iceman as well, our reigning podium tier champion. The podium tier curse has striked again. The podium tier champions from the previous season not doing quite as well in a higher tier. But I'll talk about that. Effect in a minute when we talk about one driver that's actually retiring this season in the Pinnacle tier. But enough about Precision. Let's talk about Pinnacle and the driver that's been the most dominant out of all the 3 tiers this season. Louis Welsh, 7 wins out of 10. 8 podiums and 2 drivers of the day, and he was the first driver in the world to score to defend his title 2 seasons in a row and in the same game cycle. That is impressive.
And it just shows you what a great driver he is. I mean, 7 out of 10 wins. That is phenomenal. And his worst position for the season was at the first round, 5th place. That was his worst result of the season. That is just a fantastic display from him. And adding to that, 9 pole positions out of 10, 2 driver of the day votes, and 7 fastest laps. I mean, what a season it's been for Lewis there. He thoroughly deserves that championship, and it just shows you with especially at the end of the season, 4 wins in a row in the last 4 rounds of the season. With 3 of those, he picked up the fastest lap of the race. I mean, absolutely no surprise how he dominated this season, and it goes to show you there that Williams have got themselves a fantastic driver, and no doubt they want to retain him for next season.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'm almost certain that, to be fair, Louis was an anomaly in terms of teams as well, because I was asking him why on earth did he choose Williams out of every other team, and that was because he doesn't want to get held up in the pit box. But surely he's got to think about another team higher up, because Williams seems to do well when Louis higher drivers are in the teams as well. Maybe they just want a safety net just in case they have a rubbish season ahead of them. And I'm sure Williams will want to keep hold of him for a long time to come. But we'll talk about Louis towards the end when we talk about the champions. Danny as well. Danny, who actually impressed us in qualifying night, challenging quite a lot, obviously, in Bahrain as well. You were watching him. Obviously, we talked about it in the first one. But there was a few races where he fell a little bit short, but he was there when he was challenging Louis, and it was great to watch the whole battle, the whole season. And at one point we thought Danny was gonna close in on Louis, but he clinched the title. Well, Louis clinched the title in Silverstone, and it was just him getting second place. But it was just nice to get someone of Louis' caliber in the same league. It was great to see.
Absolutely, and it just shows you there that Danny didn't show for 2 races, and that just shows you how big of a gap it can build up to when you're not looking. I mean, Danny not being not at the 5th round of the season, which I do believe was the Singapore Grand Prix, and Lewis just got 26 points out of the bag. You know, race win and the fastest lap of the race. That's just a statement of intent there. But the Spaniard, we've seen how quick he can be. He's got 2 race wins this season, 6 podiums as well, 2 driver of the days, and a fastest lap in the season. He's no stranger to pace, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, when he came up against Lewis there, you never know what you're going to get with Lewis. You never know if you're going to get an absolutely dominant season for him, or if he's not going to have the impact that he does, and he's actually going to have to scrap for points. This season, he was absolutely dominant. To be honest with you, I can't think of many drivers that could have actually stopped him.
No, I think I was watching the Pinnacle tier throughout the whole season, because I think that was the only tier I was available to watch the whole of it, and he was on top for pretty much the whole season. Like, there was no one that could stop him. I think from around round 6, I would say, I was like, right, yeah, there was no way no one was going to beat him, to be honest, apart from obviously Danny as well. So, you know, I mean, someone needs to knock Louis off his perch next season. He's already won 2 champions in a row. He's more than likely going to sign up for One Hub Racing next season. Pretty much every league he absolutely dominates. We'll have to wait and see on that one. And Midnight, I think, was a scrap for 3rd place in the driver's standings. And all it took was Rapper to miss a race for Midnight to get 3rd place. I have to say, Midnight having another strong season from round 4 onwards. His first 3 races wasn't as good, but he was back to season 14 form from round 4 onwards, and he almost got that win in Austria.
And, well, for Midnight there, he didn't finish at the second round, didn't show for the third round. And then, as you say, from round 4 onwards, 3 podiums in a row at rounds 4, 5 and 6. And just a little bit of a dip just before the end of the season there. He got 4 points at round 8 there. So, yeah, just a little bit of dip in form there. That proved to be an anomaly, though, because then he was back up to 4th place at fifth place for the penultimate round, and then 4th place for the final round of the season. But interestingly, Midnight and Rafa, you say there that Rafa didn't show for the last round, and that helped Midnight there, but Midnight didn't show for round 3. Both drivers had a DNF at one point. Rafa retired from Bahrain, and Midnight retired from the French Grand Prix. So really, it was actually quite a level playing field, and only 8 points between them towards the end. And whatever tier they're in next season, they're definitely a rivalry you need to watch closely. And actually, shout out to Zach, Toxic Tomato and Lakita, because they weren't far away either with their mixed bag of results. Just Toxic Tomato there with a 4th place, round 4 win, I should say, at the Austrian Grand Prix. Yeah, that's a really tight midfield there. Well, I say midfield, but it's quite a compact 4th to 7th place there. That's a great display of pace between all the drivers, and it just goes to show how consistency, there's that word again, how consistency is so key for these drivers. And at Midnight, they're pipping in that 3rd place spot by just 8 points there. Thoroughly deserves to be in that top 3.
Yeah, definitely as well. And obviously Rafa as well. This is Rafa's last season in F1 for a while, which is a bit of a shame. Obviously, one of the 2 drivers retiring from One Hub out of this tier this season. I mean, I'm sure he's going to be happy also, because obviously Williams were the ones that actually secured the Constructors title with 137 points. So he's going to leave at least One Hub Racing with at least a championship. It won't be the Drivers' Championship that he was hoping for, but at least it was with the Constructors' Championship. And I've got to say, Rafa and Louis worked really well this season.
I mean, the question is, who can stop Lewis next season? That is the huge question. I know Williams will want to hold on to their star driver for next season, but if the likes of Mercedes or Ferrari or Red Bull come along, then it's going to be hard for Lewis to stick to his guns. But let's see what happens next season. And as you say, Jess, let's see if anybody can knock him off that top spot.
Yep, indeed. And obviously Paris as well obviously did not do quite well as well. Thomas having a few podiums as well. He got one in Germany. Westy as well. He flew a little bit under the radar, I think. And there was he DNF'd twice, but he finished in every single race. But to be honest, you wouldn't expect someone who had moved up a tier effectively to do well. I set quite low expectations for him, to be honest. But he is a champion. He wants to score bigger and better things, and I wonder, will he benefit from being in the lower tier again this next season, or will he want to push again for the top tier and potentially close in on his nearest rivals?
It's quite an odd one, because I feel like that if you remain in a higher tier and you have to battle your way to get those points, you'll feel yourself improving every single time. Whereas if you're sort of that big fish in a little pond, you may not push yourself as much. So for me, for Westy there, I mean, I know I wouldn't score as many as 24 points against this field, that is for sure. But he's had a decent season. Okay, it's not been his best season, but he's been against some pretty talented drivers. He's going to be having to push himself, and he has done this season. So let's see what happens on the new game cycle, and let's see if he can score, hopefully, more than 24 points next time around. Of course, we'll have a longer season, so that's definitely possible.
Yes, indeed. Obviously, we can't reveal too much about season 16 yet. You have to keep your eyes peeled on that one at One Hub Racing on Twitter. More information will be that pretty soon, so we can't reveal too much. But one final driver we got to mention is White Fountain, our position tier champion from last season, Mr. Dominant. Unfortunately, he only scored 2 points this season, but he is finally making his retirement. Well, not finally, but he is making his retirement to League Racing, and he ended Brazil with another point, which I think he'll be happy with that. He was bombing pretty much almost every race, but he was one of those drivers who finished every single race, and looking back at his career, apart from this season, it's been a very successful one, and he'll be sadly missed within the community, but he's still going to be stewarding for us, so he's not gone just yet.
Yeah, 2 points is criminal to say for White Fountain. He's a much better driver than that suggests. And it is unfortunate to see him go, and unfortunate to see him go at the bottom of the table there. But yeah, he's a much better driver than those results lead you to believe. He's going to be a big driver to replace a good individual, in fact, as well. A great team player as well. So yeah, he's going to be a big loss next season. But I wonder who will be able to fill those shoes of the Belgian, if anybody can.
Yep, indeed. Otherwise, they'll have White Fountain to answer to as well. So, there wasn't much to talk about for the Pinnacle tier, really, but basically all the champions, obviously Louis, Janel, and Ibahan, they've got a next level racing stand. Well, Louis had 2, but he's got something else now. One Hub Racing has sorted out something else for him, because otherwise he wouldn't have wanted 2 next level racing stands anyway. But I'm not sure we're allowed to reveal what Louis got instead, but we'll have to wait and see. They've also got trophies as well as all the constructors championships, obviously with Williams in the Pinnacle tier, Toro also with the position tier, and obviously Mercedes with the podium tier. And I've seen a common theme here in those 3 tiers with the constructors. Each of those constructors have had the drivers champion in it, so they've all done the double.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great feeling doing the double. Absolutely. I can't say I've ever won a championship, so I can't say from experience it's great. But no, it does sound like a fantastic thing, because not only that, but you get all the prizes. All of them come your way. So it's a great feeling, definitely. So let's see if anybody can continue that trend going into next season. All of the drivers and all the constructors thoroughly deserve their prizes there. So I hope they enjoy them.
Yep, I hope they do as well. I believe I've had inside sources from Nick. The constructors' trophies have arrived at his house, so and they're still waiting on the drivers' ones, of course, and obviously the commentators' trophy as well still has to arrive at his house, and then they're going to be sending them right on their doorstep. So that's great to see. So in about 10 minutes' time, we'll be speaking to one of our champions, the precision tier champion, Janel. We're going to have a few words with him. But first of all, before we do that, we're just going to have a 10-minute interview with one of our league owners, Nick. And I spoke with him yesterday about his thoughts on Season 15 and a bit of a teaser on Season 16. So I was joined by someone who knows the league very well. It's a legend of all legends. It is our league owner, One Hub Racing, Nick. How are you doing today, Nick?
Yeah, really good. Thanks, Jess. Really excited to be here on Jess's Paddock Pass, and looking forward to any questions you want to throw my way.
That is fantastic. So first of all, Season 15 is done and dusted, and I just want you to tell me what has been your overall thoughts on it. Do you think it's been a success?
Yeah, I definitely think it has been a success. Obviously, we had 3 tiers. The first time where we've had kind of the season entry fee and the prizes, and a lot of changes in that sense. But overall, I've been really happy with it. The whole team has been happy with it. The other league owners are really happy with it. We've made strides, and that's something we'll continue to build upon now. And just see what we can bring for the future. But overall, for sure, Season 15, it's been really popular with viewers, commentators, drivers, and that's the main thing.
Yes, one of the things that we brought to Season 15, which caused a bit of mixed reactions, was the season entry fee. Do you think that made a difference to anything? Was it a hit or was it not a hit?
Yeah, I mean, the season entry fee, obviously, when it was first announced, we were expecting a mixed reaction. We didn't expect quite to have the reach that it went to within the wider community outside of our own. But nevertheless, I feel the team handled it really well. And I think anyone within the team who wasn't 100% behind it now is. So in that sense, it's been a huge success. Obviously, we have 3 tiers still, so we dropped a tier, but quality over quantity. And we had a healthy waiting list, drivers that had to leave during the season for personal circumstances. Drivers that were brought in, they had no problem paying the entry fee and joining in with the championship midway through. Obviously, we had a lot of drivers go race premium rather than the entry fee, so that's a big help. And yeah, it did the aim. We averaged 18.1 as an attendance across all 3 tiers over the 10 weeks. And, as well with that, there was the pandemic, obviously, probably aided that, but that's without reserves, that figure. And, we felt drivers were more committed, more drivers were doing their media day stuff, more drivers were finishing the race. So overall, we kind of ticked all the boxes we wanted to tick with the season entry fee. And now there's obviously the prizes to be all shipped out. So I've been busy ordering all the trophies, getting all the PSN vouchers. I've ordered the merchandise. So kind of just waiting for it all to turn up on the doorstep. And then I'm going to turn into a postman.
Yes, indeed. I'm sure all the drivers are looking forward to those. And speaking of drivers, any standout drivers this season? Who has been your highlight?
Yeah, I think there's obviously always a few. First of all, obviously you got the top 3 in each tier who've done fantastically well. They've obviously won their prizes and their trophies. But it's particular moments within the season. I had the pleasure of pretty much being able to watch all the races all over the 10 weeks because we were obviously in lockdown for most of it. And it's a moment like Jonas from the podium tier when he gets his first win and he's raced with us for at least 5 seasons, and the, celebration and how excited he feels. And, as a league owner and someone who, runs a league, it makes you feel incredibly proud that you're able to do that. And yeah, obviously Riley, started off the season not so well and then had a fantastic end to the season. So that's always good to see. Rich moved from Toro Rosso to Red Bull, and then he had a good end to the season in the podium tier. Obviously, Jano had a fantastic season in the precision tier. Dane Starr as well, right up there in second place. Carlsbury in third. Lots of race premium drivers in the precision tier as well. So big thank you to them. And then obviously the top tier, Louis, can't really touch him at the moment, but we'll have to see what F1 2020 brings. But yeah, fantastic to see Midnight up there again. Rafa's won a Constructors Trophy as he retires, so that's great to see. Toxic Tomato won a race. So all those sorts of moments are really good to see. And obviously White Fountain, he's retiring at the end of this season, but good to see that obviously he competed in all the races and finished. So yeah, happy retirement for him, and big thanks for all his contributions over the seasons. And yeah, we're gonna miss him out, seeing him out on track, that's for sure. But what a worthy champion he was the previous season, I should say.
Yeah, and I've got to say, White Fountain will still be there. He'll obviously still be the part of the stewarding community in One Hub Racing, so you haven't got rid of him yet, that's for sure. So he'll still be a part of One Hub Racing community and helping us reach towards what we're achieving in future seasons, and most importantly, going into F1 2020. That's coming up not long way away now. It's about just over a week to go now. Any plans for the F1 2020 game cycle, and in particular season 16?
Of course, there's lots of plans, Jess. Obviously, we had a 3-hour meeting on Friday night with most of the team who helped run the league. And although it was tiring, we went through loads of stuff, loads of new ideas, loads of things to improve on. As everyone knows, we always try to build up the hype for a new season as much as we can. So I can't really say too much. But for sure, things like the Commentators Championship that Luke won for the first time this season, being that's a kind of a first thing for us, things like that we can easily improve on, offer more potentially. Again, don't want to say too much. We're obviously going to be looking at driving standards and how we can improve that. And I think we've come up with a couple of new ideas that we can roll out to kind of help improve driving standards if particular drivers are being involved in multiple incidents. Yeah, possibly we're looking at more trophies and awards for those drivers who are very loyal. They turn up every race in the season, they finish every race in the season, they're always doing their media day stuff, but they don't necessarily, they're not necessarily finishing in the top 5 every race. So we're looking at ways how we can say, thank you to you and to give them something, more to race for. So yes, there's lots of stuff. No matter how good you are, you're always going to look for stuff to improve. It was our first season with a season entry fee, so we're going to look at the prizes, how we can change them around a bit, make them, a little bit better. So yeah, there's lots to improve on, lots of exciting stuff. Going to be really, really happy to share it with everyone. But of course, there's lots of work to be done behind the scene before that can happen. But yeah, it's there won't be too much longer before you do see some news about what to expect from One Hub Racing on F1 2020.
Yeah, we already seen the first big news of season 16, where one of our new sponsors is actually sponsoring our trophies for us. Can you tell me your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so it's Liam's a great guy. He's really got into the F1 community, and he kind of reached out to us, and he basically asked about sponsoring, and he was impressed with the way we've been running the website, the graphics, and I guess the whole, the way we deployed the season entry fee and the things we were offering in return for that. And so yeah, he's going to be sponsoring the trophies, so he'll be contributing to the league financially, and we'll be obviously promoting him on streams and things like that. So big thanks to Liam, and hopefully it's going to help us grow to be bigger and better.
That's absolutely fantastic. I think that's all we have time for you, Nick. Thank you so much for joining the Paddock Pass today, and we'll wish you the best of luck for season 16 and beyond.
Yeah, just want to say a final thank you, obviously, to all the commentators who commentated for us in season 15. Hopefully have you back for the next season. Also, thanks to the admin team for their hard work for the pre-season, during the season, getting ready for next season. It's non-stop for them, so big thank you. Of course, for all the drivers who sign up, paid the season entry fee, we do appreciate your support, and I do hope you enjoyed what we were able to offer you in season 15. And of course, our race premium drivers as well. Big thanks to them, and hopefully see them all sign up next season, amongst many more. So yeah, spread the word, tell your friends. Season 16's on its way. Massively excited for F1 2020.
Great to hear from Nick there. Obviously, a 3-hour meeting. That's a long time. Anyway, now we bring you to the champion interview. We do have Jarnal right now in our commentary box, or you can call it a commentary box if you like. Jarnal, Precision Tier champion. How does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel good, obviously. Winning something finally in my late racing career. Apart from the first title I won back in 2017, but yeah, it feels good winning.
Yeah, and 5 wins, so you pretty much won half the season, 6 podiums. But I noticed in your after race interview that you rated yourself 8 out of 10 for the entire season. Where do you think you could have improved then?
Well, I wasn't perfect. 2 things come to my mind. First was Germany. Well, the 15-second time penalty from the dive bomb, that was bad, I'd say. And another one from Britain, Silverstone, the 20-second penalty from taking out Chris. Yeah, those 2 at least makes it, well, 8 out of 10. No, not perfect.
So you just subtracted a point for each instant you're in. That's what's happened. But yeah, well, I mean,
I didn't think about it like that, but 8 is good, but not perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know Jess has a couple of questions as well. I know that much.
Yes. Before going into obviously season 15, obviously you were put into the position tier. Did you ever think you ever stood a chance before the season, being the champion like you are right now? Did you think you were going to take the top crown?
Well, to be honest, I thought I had a chance to win the title, and I did. But before the season, I looked at the drivers who I will be racing with, and there was a few I knew were quick and would challenge me for the title. They were Dainstar and Brett. Well, Dainstar was the main one, and the second one was Carlsberg, who I didn't really know before the season, but he was quick too. But yes, I thought I had a chance to win it, and at the end I actually did. So, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about obviously your downfalls, obviously getting your penalties in the mid half of the season with Germany and obviously Silverstone as well. But we don't want to talk about your bad points. You're champion, for goodness sake. What has been your best race of season 15? What was your race where you thought that felt like a good race?
That's kind of hard to choose actually, but maybe France, because I really enjoyed that one, battling with Brett in the rain, and I ended up with the win there, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, sure. I think I'm almost certain you did, because I remember watching that battle and it just never stopped. The commentators were absolutely loving it as well, and I was loving it watching it from the YouTube chat as well, and I think most of the management team were as well. Is it great to have someone who's at a similar pace just battle alongside you and have a bit of fun?
Yeah, I really love just fair, clean, and what's the word? Competitive driving on the track. Is it in a league race or even public lobbies or ranked mode? I just enjoy it very much. So that was a big highlight from this season for sure.
Who would you say has who do you say out of all the drivers in your tier do you think has improved the most out of most of them?
Well, I don't know.
Was there people that were challenging for the podium and wins that you weren't expecting to?
To be honest, I can't answer that. Because
Fair enough.
I don't know.
Fair enough.
Well, maybe.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine.
Maybe Carlsberg, because I didn't know about him before, but he improved, and well, I remember Singapore, he was quick there. I was impressed, like really impressed. He was quick there. And yeah, maybe Carlsberg.
Well, one thing I was going to ask you, Jarnal, obviously there's a bit of PSN credit on your way. You've got a wheel stand, plus you've got the constructors' prize as well. You're going to be overwhelmed at the post box later on this year, but I mean, it must be great to have all those prizes coming your way.
Yeah, of course I will be happy with them. I will use the PSN credit to buy the new game.
Yes.
And of course, and the wheel stand, of course, will be put into good use when I get it. And of course the trophies as well. Add a few to my collection.
Have you got enough space for it? Are you going to make like a trophy cabinet now? Because you may start adding to it soon with all the other leagues you're in.
Actually, I'm not in another leagues at the moment, but yeah.
Yeah, and
there's space in my room.
And my final question anyway, I'm sure Kieran might have another final question, but my final question, I ask this every year, do you think you're going to win a title, either constructors and or drivers in F1 2020?
Well, I don't know, maybe. That depends in a few things, of course, which tier I will be in, and well, will I enjoy the game or not? Probably I will. I would have the beta right now, but I'm not home, so I can't play it.
No.
But I will be soon, before it releases the 10th or the 7th.
Yeah, it's not that long away.
I hope I will be able to challenge for another title next season too.
And obviously we won't know what tiers we have until obviously a lot of people sign up, but were you aiming in the pecking order? Are you aiming to be in the top tier, or you wanted to be in the middle again?
Well, I hope for the return of 4 tiers actually. So I would be in the second best. So that was pinnacle when Prestige was the best, like season 14, the first season of this game. When I joined midway, well, at Canada, I really enjoyed that season too, but couldn't challenge for the championship, of course, because I missed few rounds at the start. But yeah, if 4 years, I would like to be in the second best one. But well, if there's only 3, I don't know, I could maybe see myself in the top tier.
Kieran, do you have any final few questions to ask Janel?
I mean, as a driver, obviously we've got a new game cycle coming up. You've got the added pressure next season of being a champion. How do you prepare yourself, or what's your strategy for preparing yourself for next season?
Well, I don't take too much pressure from it. I just have to enjoy the game, enjoy the races and practice for them. And of course, before any of it, well, the league starts, I will be playing the new career mode, or whatever it's called, the manager mode. So
my team,
learning the game.
My team.
Yeah, but just I want to enjoy the game. I used to, well, sweat a lot more than I do now in the top tiers, but not anymore. I just want to enjoy the game, and yeah, like that.
That's all the questions I've got, Jess.
Okay, brilliant. Do you have any final words to say before we wrap up your interview? Do you have any shout outs to give? Any people that have helped you potentially get the exclusive title?
Well, at this moment I could plug my Twitter, so go follow me at ILRT_channel at Twitter. So that's it.
There we go. Follow ILRT_channel on Twitter. There we go. Giving ILRT a little bit of a plug there as well. Thank you for joining us, Channel, and obviously we'll see you for season 16 on F1 2020. And have a good rest of your evening, mate.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that was a nice chat to have with Channel, Kieran. I mean, it's nice to see someone who takes so much time and effort to actually practicing, and they get all the rewards for it.
Races for just to enjoy himself. That's a really good thing. And, you know, you can make it something to, as he said, to sweat and try and put everything into it, all ounce of energy into it. But at the end of the day, Jarno's enjoying himself, and enjoying himself has got himself a title. So that's the way I'd want to do it. He's having fun. He's got a championship to his name. Can't wait to see what he's made of next season. Yeah, definitely. And we've got a few things more to say before we wrap up the talk show. We'll say a few thank yous and a few things about season 16. But as some of you may have noticed on Twitter on Friday, we got a new sponsor, and he's also been lurking in the chat as well. So massive shout out to Liam as well. Liam13 as his gamer tag, I think, on all platforms like to see. And I also had a chat with him yesterday as well. I got to know him a little bit better. Asked him how he got into streaming and why he chose OneUp to sponsor us. So here's a little bit of a clip from his interview, and you'll get to know more about Liam and why he sponsored us. There we go. So as we discussed earlier, we talked about one of our sponsors, Next Level Racing, but for season 16, we've got a brand new sponsor, as Nick mentioned in his interview, who is sponsoring for quite a lot of stuff, and we thought that we use this opportunity to get to know one of our new sponsors a lot better. It's Liam, who is going to be sponsoring us for season 16 and beyond. So how are you doing, Liam?
Not too bad, and yourself?
Yeah, not too bad either. So first of all, before we talk about you sponsoring the league, what got you into esports and streaming in general?
Well, I've always been a competitive guy. So first of all, I started off playing Call of Duty went around the UK playing in a few tournaments, etc., etc. Then I moved on to FIFA, started competing in that, representing Game in Preston, playing in a few tournaments for them, and then I moved on to F1, and here we are.
Yes, what has been your highlight of you streaming on Twitch at the moment? What has been your biggest milestone, do you think?
Well, we just recently hit 1,000 followers, so that's been pretty big. We've been at it for just under 3 years now, so we finally got there.
That's brilliant. That's absolutely fantastic. And how did you came across OneHub? Because it must have been a huge stepping stone for you. How did you find OneHub?
Well, when I started playing F1 properly, like all the time, I had a look around for a few leagues, and then OneHub instantly popped out. They stand for all the correct things. They do it with mental health. That's a big thing, and just everything they do is great for the community.
And what was your favourite thing for OneHub, do you think?
The actual streams. The streams are top quality with the commentators. The commentators are brilliant. The racing's top quality. Pretty much everything production-wise is brilliant. And behind the scenes, everybody's working really hard as well.
And what made you decide that you want to go a little bit further with OneHub? Because I know you want to race in next season as well. But what made you go one step further and decide to help the league?
I've always been a generous kind of guy, so I thought, why not take it one step further and help push it a little bit further?
Yeah, that's brilliant. So we've had a few conversations. Well, you had a few conversations with a few of the staff members, and what is it you plan? What is it you plan to do to help the drivers? Because it's something with the drivers in mind, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just to give them a bit more appreciation for what they do. They come to race is it Friday, I believe?
Yeah, every Friday. Yeah.
Come to race every Friday. Take the time out of their day just to show a bit more appreciation towards them.
That's fantastic. I obviously won't go into detail how much the trophies cost because that's a lot of money. But what do you want to get out of this deal that you have? Because obviously we're here to help you. You're here to help us, of course. What do you hope you're going to enjoy from being with us?
I'm just hoping to see a lot of racing, a lot of battles going on. Hopefully, I'll be involved in some of them, maybe. And see where it goes from there.
And speaking with your expectations of the drivers, obviously you're going to race for us next season. What is your goal? What level do you expect to be when you start racing with us? What do you want to get podiums? Do you just want to aim for points, or you just want to improve every week?
The goal is always to get on that podium, but like you say, improving every week, getting faster. That's probably the main goal, especially with the new game coming around as well. Everybody's got a fresh start. It's time to start the grind, and everybody's going to be aiming for that podium.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. And obviously we'll be promoting your streams every Friday night to see what life is like being a OneHub driver, so they can see for yourselves. Just before we end the interview, can you plug a little bit of your social media so they can come and check you out?
Well, everything, Twitter, Instagram, Liam13, Twitch, Liam13. I've started uploading a few Twitch clips to TikTok now as well to try and get a few people from over there to come and check the stream out. So
to be honest, I'm not a big TikTok fan, but I'm glad you are getting into the TikTok phase. But yeah, that's great to see you. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today, and we're looking forward to having you as one of our sponsors alongside Next Level Racing for season 16.
No worries, it's a pleasure.
So thanks to Liam there for taking the time out of his Saturday night yesterday to be interviewed, and I was quite pleasantly surprised to see someone so passionate about the league to go on and sponsor for trophies, Kieran. It was absolutely fantastic.
It's a fantastic gesture, and obviously we look forward to working alongside him as a sponsor for next season. It's great to have him on board.
Yeah, definitely. We got a few more things to talk about as well, and something that you were involved with as well for 2 races, the Commentators Championship as well, and I may as well bring the standings up for that. Yes, we have got standings. You can finally see how your favourite commentator has done, and there was one that didn't put a foot, apart from the first race, he didn't put a foot wrong. And to be honest, it was tough for everyone to beat, and that was Luke, of course. And were you expecting Luke to be up the top of the standings and winning by a comfortable margin?
A dark horse at the start of this season, and he's come out of the blocks and just absolutely nailed it. Every single race, he was impossible to catch. It's as simple as that. He fully deserves that title there, and I'm glad actually. Luke has been working hard. I know he has over the last couple of seasons in leagues outside of One Hub. It's great to be working with him. Great to hear him as well on One Hub, and yeah, I'm really happy for him. He really deserves that one, and I hope he enjoys the prize that comes along with it as well.
Yeah, he's still waiting for the trophy to arrive, and also the PSN voucher as well. He was going to hopefully to use it for the F1 2020 game, but he's already pre-ordered it yesterday as well. But yeah, and obviously Alex finishing second, and the gap between second and pretty much even with you as well, second and fifth place, separated by a few hundredths of a point, I must say. So it's great to see the commentators being very strong. And what were your thoughts on the Commentators Championship anyway? Do you think it's been a success for the first season?
Well, there's me finishing down in fifth, but you know, I think I to be honest with you, I didn't have as much because I was a reserve. I sort of let everybody else scrap for it out, and by the time I thought, oh, actually, could I have a try? It was too late. But anyway, that's the life of a reserve. I was happy to be a part of it, and to be honest with you, it's promoted some very, very close championship standings. I think that's just the quality of the One Hub commentary team, really, and it just shows you how this championship has really make everyone step it up, especially after the first round where we found out how the points were exactly going to work and how it was all going to be scored. We got the feedback, and it's great there because you actually know what you need to do for the next round, what to improve on, what could go well, but you also get the praise about, oh, you did this really well and that was really good. I think for me, it's definitely given me an insight about maybe where I need to improve, which is always good. I never want to be the most perfect commentator, although you really want to be when it comes to PSN credit and a trophy on the line. But the point is that it's made everybody step their game up to the absolute maximum. And for example, for Luke, he just stepped up to another level. You could say he stepped onto the next level. But yeah, he was absolutely uncatchable ever since round two. Perfect fives all the way through. Thoroughly deserves it, and that's the standard we've got to match and maybe even beat next season. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, as well. And thanks to the commentators, including yourself, for giving me feedback as well about how the championship has run. And we're taking this on board, ready to improve for next season as well. And to be honest, it was hard for me to judge these commentators because it was the first time I ever done it, and to be honest, at the first couple of rounds it was hard to for me, I find it hard to be a bit harsh on those commentators, but I kind of had to as part of my role. I wanted drivers to commentators to improve in every every stream they actually commentate as well, and if they do something wrong, I want to say, look, you did this wrong. This is how you could improve. So it's definitely helped me improve as a commentator as well. It didn't benefit just the commentators. It benefited me as well as a commentator. And I need to step up my game as well and see if I could be at a similar level to what Luke is, because he's just astonishing. So, yeah.
To watch back Luke's streams, especially from round two onwards. That's it. That's the definition. That's what we're looking for. So that's the standard we've all got to match and somehow beat it next season. As I said before, it's going to be tough. And I got to say, Luke started out this season as a dark horse. Now that's it. That's the statue of him built now for season 15. We've all got to try and at least 16. For season 16. Well, we've all got to beat that basically, which is going to be so tough.
Yes, and if you're watching this and thinking, hang on, I might want to take part in this Commentators Championship, we are looking for commentators, full-time and reserve, to join our commentary team for next season. And if you're interested, message the One Hub Racing account with a sample of your commentary. And if you don't have a sample of a league or something like that, just commentate on an open lobby fight for 5-10 minutes. That should be enough to suffice. And I think you should become a commentator because it's a lot of fun, high talented commentators, and you get to learn from the best commentators around. And to be honest, we had a few interests already. Why do you think people should become a commentator for One Hub Racing?
The main thing is the community of the commentators. That's basically it. We all are in it together. We're all giving each other tips and pointers. And I know Austin is the king statistician of the entire team. He works tirelessly on the spreadsheets as well, looking into the championship permutations as well. It's great to have him as one of the admins for next season, I believe.
Yeah, he is.
If I can remember that rightly. Yeah, it's great to be working alongside him. He puts in so much effort into all those stats and creating the stories he's told me before. But yeah, everyone gets along really well. We've always got people giving each other tips, and if something's not quite gone right, then you've always got the chat there to bring you back onto your feet and get you ready for the next round. It's a great fun to be a part of, and yeah, I'm looking forward to next season.
Yeah, and obviously, good luck to all the commentators for next season, and see if they could beat Luke for the shot. Luke's task really, because he set a boundary, I think, and I think he wants to beat that next season. I'm already can confirm that Luke wants to commentate for us next season, so he's back, whether he's full time or not. But because he won the commentators championship, I'm going to do my absolute best to try and find him a seat in the commentary box next season, but not always guaranteed. So yeah, but. That is it then. That is the end of season 15, and that it already, after like 10 rounds of the talk show, that's it really. And we've got a couple of thank yous to give to the league before we wrap up. I would like to say thanks to all the drivers for putting in their effort every single week, for turning up. The attendance, as Nick was saying, was absolutely amazing. Obviously, an average of 18, I can't really remember the pointage, but an average of 18 drivers a session, which was amazing. Obviously, thanks to our admins as well. Obviously, Wyatt Fountain for the Mark for the stewarding, Scorpion as well. Obviously, Luke with his always lovely graphics, and I've got to say, also I'm losing track as well on the other Lukey for the graphics as well. And obviously Gaza for coordinating one of the leagues as well, and being the head of CODs. He's been a good job, and also he sorts out the standings every week, saves a lot of people a job as well. And obviously the star of the show has got to be Nick. He's been outstanding. He pitched the idea of the season entry fee to us. We were all not that keen to start off with, but I think majority of us were keen, and he brought a lot of good ideas to season 15, and we're looking forward for him to carry on that momentum with season 16, with obviously Lukey and the other owner co-owning it with them as well. So thanks to Nick. I know you'll probably hate me for saying thank you to him, but I think without him there'll be no One Hub, and he shares a great vision, and it's great to have him manage us every week. And it was absolutely fantastic. Thank you to Nick as well, and obviously thanks to everybody else for putting the effort. I'll say thank you to a lot more people in a minute, but we couldn't have done it without Nick, surely, Kieran?
Absolutely not. And Nick is just one of those who puts all that work into running the league and making sure it runs as smooth and like clockwork, really. So without a Nick, we don't have a One Hub, and it's as simple as that. He puts in so much work behind the scenes, his ideas, he keeps coming up with them. Don't know where he gets them from, but he keeps coming up with them, and they keep sticking. So yeah, I mean, it's great to be working alongside Nick, and yeah, I look forward to working alongside him once again for next season.
Who knows? Maybe we'll get maybe he will get him to commentate guest next season. You never know. We almost got him for Brazil. If you haven't made it, Kieran, I would have got Nick. So I almost got it, but we didn't. Speaking of commentators, thanks to all our commentators who commentated this season. So that was obviously our champion Luke, but also Liam as well. Not the Liam 13 you see in the chat, but whatever, Liam JMC12 or whatever, I don't even know. Liam anyway, obviously Alex Lilliart from Pinnacle, obviously Liam for Podium and Luke for Podium. Owen and Austin for Pinnacle, that was Precision, sorry. Oh my god, I'm not getting my words in tonight. But obviously that they were a great duo, I must say. It's great to have them again for another season as well. And obviously our reserve, of course, you yourself, Kieran. Obviously Jamie as well. Obviously Jamie also did the head of team stuff, so thanks to him for sorting out that as well. We couldn't, he sorted out the team contract as well, so thanks to him as well. And also Sam as well. He dropped out midway through the season as a driver, but that helped us a lot in a way, because we got him back as a commentator, and he filled in for 3 races this season, and I think he filled in for every single tier. He filled 1 for Precision, 1 for Podium, and 1 for Pinnacle. So he did for every single one. And obviously thanks to you guys for watching every week as well. Thanks to you guys. Without you, obviously there'll be no stream, and you guys are interacting as well. Maybe you guys will want to join in the fun as a driver or as a commentator for season 16.
Yeah, absolutely, and why not? It's as simple as that. If you've got the interest, we'd love to hear from you. Absolutely. It's a great community to be a part of, and yeah, I'm looking forward to next season already. Can we start it now?
Yeah,
Yes,
can we? Yeah. We got a lot of things to finalise, obviously, and there will be a trailer coming really, really soon. We're not going to say what the date is. It's very, very soon, and it'll give you a little bit of a teaser on what's got in store for season 16 and pretty much beyond on F1 2020 as well. We even planned on how many seasons as well we've got planned for the F1 2020 calendar as well. And we're very excited for that. So that is it then for the monthly pass and the end of season 15. So for me at least, I'll be having a nice break from One Hump for a while, and until obviously the pre-season starts. So thank you very much for joining us, and thank you once again, Kieran, for joining me in the Paddock Pass for the whole season, even though it's been for 2 episodes. Thank you for coming alongside me. It was absolutely fantastic.
Pleasure, Jess. I've really liked working alongside you for the Paddock Pass, and hopefully I get a chance to be alongside you once again. I know other people, though, have been itching to get in alongside and discuss their views of the previous month, but I've been really glad to be a part of the 2 that have been going on this season. Obviously, a shorter season means fewer Paddock Passes, but short and sweet is how I like it, absolutely.
Yeah, and we'll have more next season, I must say. So watch this space. So we will see you next season for for season 16, and date to be confirmed, as it were. So have a good evening, everybody. We will see you for season 16 pretty soon. Goodbye.